Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new around, my name is Alana and I am here today to talk to you about things to know before coming to Canada. I guess I'll start off with number one. It is freezing. Canada is cold and I'm pretty sure most people know this, but the winters here are so freaking long and harsh that when summer rolls around, it is like heaven on earth. At the moment, I'm looking outside both of my windows. I can barely see the mountains. It is still April and we are still getting snow and cold temperatures, and I'm just wondering where the heck is spring. Usually not everywhere in Canada is like this though, but if you live somewhere like in the mountains, especially in Alberta, the winters, or even, I don't know about the prairies because I've never been there, but I know that the winters can be long and they're super, super harsh. The coldest temperature I've ever experienced here in Alberta is minus 48 degrees Celsius. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit. I'll pop it up here if I can, but it is cold. Cold, cold, cold. We last year got our first snowfall in around about September. I can't tell you when in September, but it was in September because I know it was just before my birthday. And we are still getting snow now. So September to April, like you can kind of guess that's like November, December, January, February, March, April, 8 months so far of winter. I'm so done with winter this year. It's been such a harsh winter. We've had some very, very cold snaps. It's lasted forever. So one thing to know is prepare yourself for a long winter. If you're coming from a warmer climate like Australia and you don't really have many winter clothes, the one thing I probably would say is wait to buy your stuff here. Australia is pretty expensive as it is. But it's not even worth traveling with all of that winter stuff. It's so heavy and it takes up so much room. And obviously everywhere here sells it, and there's a lot of places you can get it for kind of cheap, or you can look on now Facebook sells stuff like the marketplace and stuff like that in your area. If you're coming to Banff, Canmore area, there's like a web page called Banff Buy and Sell, and you can literally sell and buy everything on there. People are like, when they're coming and going, they'll sell everything on there. So that's one thing that I would suggest, is to wait to buy your winter clothes until you get here. Number two thing to know about when you're moving to Canada is that Canada is a bilingual country. It has two official languages, English obviously, and French is another one. Not necessarily everyone can speak French. There's one province that is solely French only, which is Quebec. I have actually been to Quebec. It's probably one of my favorite provinces, and Quebec City is one of my favorite cities in the whole of Canada. But if you go there, it can be a little bit difficult with the language barrier. Some people don't actually know how to speak English in like little villages, or they do, but they're just very rusty. When you come to the rest of Canada though, people who have gone to a bilingual school, like an immersion school, or have grown up near Quebec, or they've just kept going with French. Some people do know how to speak French, but when you come more out west, like Alberta and BC, not many people know how to speak French. So if you are only an English speaking person, it will be perfect for you. But if you're wanting to live in Quebec City and you're an expat, then you may need to go to French lessons, because you would definitely need to know how to speak French in Quebec. Number three, food. Food in Canada. Canada is very multicultural and there's a lot of different cuisines here. It's very similar to Australia, so I found it very easy to adapt. The probably two major things that Canada is known for with their food, I guess, is obviously maple syrup. Maple syrup here is none of that watery shit that you get in the States. That's like a syrup that doesn't even say maple. It is really good. I love maple syrup. I've loved maple syrup since I was a kid, so coming here was amazing. In Quebec, you can actually go and do I don't know if you can do it anywhere else, but I know in Quebec you can go and do maple farm tours. So if you're really into something like that and you're out that way, it'd be pretty cool to go see. You can see them tap the maple out of a tree and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Number 2, the second thing that Canada's well known for is poutine, or poutine, however you want to pronounce it. It is pretty much chip, cheese and gravy, but with cheese curds on it. So I'm guessing it's kind of like a French Canadian thing that they started in Quebec maybe. But there's different variations of it now. You can get like pulled pork poutine, you can get Mexican poutine with chili on it, you can get like anything poutine. It's a very comfort food thing. It's good for hangovers. It's very greasy. It's pretty good actually. I don't mind it. But if you don't live in Canada and you live anywhere else in the world, it's pretty much chip, cheese and gravy. I guess, what are we up to? Number 4. Canada is expensive. We pay too much for everything here. And the wages don't kind of work out. I will link one of my videos down below where I kind of spoke about living out here in Banff, Camera. I think it was my second working holiday visa of like video or something like that. But if you want me to go into more detail of how life is out in Banff area, the mountains, and way of living, expenses and stuff like that, leave a comment below and I can make a new video for sure. But Canada is expensive, so when you first get here, make sure you have some money behind you because you don't want to get stuck. And we also don't have, like, the taxes aren't included in the final price, and you also have to tip. So make sure you kind of brush up on that. Say if you were going out for dinner, is probably the best example, and your steak is $25. That's really cheap steak. But just say it's $25. When you get your bill, there'll be GST added onto that. Depending on where you live in Canada, it's all different as well. Alberta's 5% and it's the cheapest, thankfully. But then you also have to tip on top of that. If you're lucky, some places on the bill will have how much percentage and dollars is tip, like 10, 15, whatever. But sometimes you have to work it out for yourself. So a big tip for that one is get an app on your phone because that will help you a lot. I guess we're up to 5, 6, whatever. Next one is outdoors. Canadians are very outdoorsy. Obviously 2 major seasons here in Canada. You've got winter and you've got summer. So it can be very expensive in that way as well, to live here because you'll need things for every season. But why can't I speak? Canadians, very into obviously skiing, snowboarding, cross-country skiing, snowmobiling, all that kind of jazz in this winter. And then summer, obviously mountain biking, hiking, canoeing, anything to do with outdoors in the summer. Like, as I mentioned before, the winters go for so long that you just want summer to come and you make the most of it. Like, there's a lot of sunlight in the summer. I mean, like, I'm not too sure what time the sun roughly gets up. I want to say like 5 or 6 a.m. I'm never usually up that early, but it goes down about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So you do get a whole day of sunlight. So a lot of times you'll find everyone outdoors trying to make the most of it, because when winter rolls around, there's no sunlight. The sun goes down at like freaking 4 p.m. and it's just depressing and sad. But anyways, probably my last thing for today would be, right now it's definitely in the heightened peak of the season, which is hockey. Hockey. Canadians love their hockey. Hockey culture here is insane. I don't even know if I can compare it to anything else in the world. Maybe like soccer in the UK, I guess, or football, if you want to call it that. Australia has a bunch of different sports that I could compare it to, but nothing compares to hockey. Canadians especially, because it's like pretty much them. I mean, it's not their national sport, but it pretty much is their national sport. But it is like, fans are die hard and it goes pretty insane. at the moment there's the playoffs, so I mean Americans are pretty, well, it depends where you go, but Canadians love their hockey, and I don't know what else I can say about it. It's an amazing sport. I've fallen in love with it. The playoffs are on right now, so people are getting really into it. It will be playing at like a sports bar, no matter what time of the day it is. Anywhere in the country you'll find it. Hockey. But yeah, so those are a few things that I thought that I would share with you today. Just a few little fun things that you should know about coming to Canada. If you want a more in-depth video or want to see something else, leave a comment below. I have a few other videos planned to try and help those coming to Canada, because I've been getting a lot of questions about like the working holidays and stuff like that. I'm almost, fingers crossed, getting my permanent residency soon. So once I get that, I'm going to do a video as well, because I really want to share that with people and try and make it a lot easier for people trying to get their permanent residency in Canada. So fingers crossed, guys, but leave a comment below. If you liked this video, give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.